Representative is standing by. Good morning, Representative. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And so I know we got you on to talk about the whistleblower protection provision, but we were just talking about some political news before the break. So did you submit your name to be considered for Lieutenant Governor?
I think I was nominated, but I did not put my name in the hat. Personally, I kind of feel it's really important to defend the House, so I'm wanting to stay and keep running in my seat so I can continue the good work that we need to do in the House.
Yeah, and we know that this is your first time joining us. Thanks again. For those who might be meeting you for the first time, do you mind just introducing yourself a little bit? I know I've known you as a former educator, or you continue to be an educator. I know that's really important to you. So yeah, for those who might be meeting you for the first time.
Sure. Well, my name is Leila Fleming Clark Staffler. I actually grew up in Guam for the beginning of my life. I was in Guam until about fourth grade, and then I moved to Tinian, and then I was there until I graduated high school, and then I went to college. And after I graduated college, I became a teacher. So I taught for a few years on Tinian, and then I moved to Saipan, and then I've been here for the last 17 years. I've been a teacher, a coach, an advisor. I kind of like to get involved, so I became an administrator, eventually becoming a principal. And in that work, I've worked with a lot of students, young people, and families especially. And so I wanted to try and do this kind of work and help more families.
Awesome, amazing. And I just know I've known you as such an active educator in the community, always teaching us lessons.
We're very proud of you, Tomas.
Thanks, Representative. And I just wanted to, Chris, did you have something? Did you want to add something?
No, I wanted to go kind of just provide a little context. So if you're just joining us now, obviously in the CNMI, it's pretty hot right now politically. You have the Lieutenant Governor who has broke from the sitting governor, Ralph Torres, and announced that he's going to be running for governor in the next election. And then you've also got Representative Tina Sablan, who came on yesterday in the first interview since she confirmed that she's going to be running as a Democrat.
Yeah, and so with our recent coverage of the special election as well, the Democrats have a block in the House now. That
right. And so when you asked Representative Staffler about whether or not she was going to be the number 2 to Representative Tina Sablan's gubernatorial ticket, and she talked about preserving the House. The Democrats have the majority, right?
I believe it's a Representative. Is it a 10 in the House right now for the Democrats?
Yes, 10 in the House. And so, it's a narrow majority. So that's partly why I really feel it's important that we defend the House in addition to expanding our reach. And so we are looking for interested people to run with us.
And I know one thing the Democratic Party is looking for is getting those who are active community members, maybe not, quote unquote, a traditional mainstream politician to join their ranks as well. And so
yes,
I think it's a trend we're seeing across the nation.
I wouldn't consider myself a politician, so you don't have to consider yourself a politician if you want to run.
And another thing that's shaking things up in the CNMI, Chris, is a bill that Representative Staffler introduced, which is the act that shall be cited as the Commonwealth-wide Whistleblower Protection Act of 2021. Representative, what's the status of this, and can you give a little background on why you introduced it and what its purpose is?
Absolutely. So background on why. When I originally got into the House, I was trying to figure out what are ways that I could best help people in their current situations and just keeping an eye on all the things that are happening. I looked up the whistleblower law statute just to see what is it, to see how it applies right now. And this was it in its entirety, or is it currently, because my bill is still in process. But that's it, one page, not even a full page, okay? And it only really was applicable to making a complaint or information to the public auditor. It didn't really expand beyond the public auditor for waste and abuse of collection of funds. It really doesn't have anything protecting people who are working for the government. And so that was something that we often were hearing a lot of reports about from our constituents of things that were happening that were really, questionable as far as the ethics and what's right. And so looking at that, I started researching with my awesome teams in the legislature to find ways that we could expand these protections to include personnel practices in particular. It's also going to create a way for payout for people who do report waste and abuse. In the prior statute, in the current statute, it doesn't have a mechanism for payout. So like, for example, there have been whistleblowing incidences where people have, said what's going on, they've stopped the thing, but they couldn't get the reward because there's no mechanism to get the reward. So that's one of the things that was fixed in my version of the bill. It is currently in Ms. Selena Babauta's committee, and we are soliciting comments right now, and that's kind of where it's at.
Were you surprised at all to find out that one little page was like all you guys had on the books?
Yeah, I was actually. I mean, considering I did look up, the federal one, and it's so many pages. Yeah. In fact, we kind of started with that and pared it down to fit our situation, if you will. And we actually took some of WAM's parts too.
And Representative, I did want to ask you, in terms of working with the public auditor or even with the attorney general, who, correct me if I'm wrong, have their kind of own mechanisms to handle such cases. What's your take on that? I know that in my reporting it can be difficult to get information even just from the public auditor and attorney general. I mean, given if it's an active investigation or case or or whatnot. But is this something maybe more proactive, do you think, or what's your take on the agencies that you're going to have to work with here?
Well, I have sent the bill to them for comment, so they are actively reviewing it right now, and I'm waiting for some of their responses. I did get one response back from the Office of Personnel Management, and they gave some recommendations that they felt would make it stronger. I've heard of different people who have read it in the media so far, on Facebook, and they've given some comments too that they would like to see it expanded. So for that, I would say that I know that one of the things the Democrats are working on with Rep. Tina Sablan actually leading this part is looking at how we can change other parts of our labor laws to offer more protections. But for this in particular, it tries to expand personnel retaliation and retribution that happens in personnel practices in particular. That's where we see a lot of things happen, especially in the political season. And so this would be another layer of protection for people to not be forced into doing things they wouldn't want to do just to keep a job.
And how many people would this cover?
This is government employees only as far as retaliation in the workplace. This bill does allow for any person in the community to report any waste and abuse of public funds. So that's open to anybody. But if you're employed by the government and you have retaliation by your supervisor, then that's what you would be protected by. Or this would protect you.
And Representative, just real quick, I wanted to ask you, what are some examples of past retaliations? You've referenced them. Are you able to provide some examples?
Absolutely. Specifically in here, it doesn't allow to be transferred without reason. So, for example, we hear a lot about the use of transferring in departments as a form of retaliation. Maybe you were seen at the wrong party, or you spoke out somewhere, or maybe you made a Facebook post, and the supervisors will place you in a different part of the department that you might not really want to be in. Or what's worse is we've spent so much money investing in our personnel, our human resources, to then have them transferred to another place where their skills are not actually being used. It really breaks morale. It breaks the efficiency and efficacy of the team. And so that's one of the things that it would be prohibited. Another one would be like barring a person from getting a promotion that they maybe would have gotten otherwise because of retaliatory reasons. And also non-disclosure agreements are covered in here. Any non-disclosure agreement that that an agency would apply to their employees has to have a disclaimer that that says, even though you sign this in better language, sorry, Kay, but even if you sign this, you still will be able to, give information to the legislature, the attorney general, or the public auditor as a clause. So although there is an NDA, if you are called by one of those agencies, you may say the truth.
And I can't help but maybe notice the timing of this all, given that there is an ongoing House committee probe that we have been covering. I believe today the executive assistant, Francis de la Cruz, is expected to appear. Is this in some ways a response to the Republican administration?
Well, I would say it's in response to any administration that has taken its employees and used them as pawns in order to further their agenda that is not for the whole people. When you're trying to preserve your place in power by moving people around or by threatening them with their livelihood, it's really hard to feel at peace in your own home. And everybody's just trying to make a living. Everybody's just trying to feed their families. And so I feel like when we go to work, if we're going to do the work of the people, we need to feel like we have a safe place that is conducive to getting the work done that's for the people. And so I wouldn't say it's just for this administration, because I've been hearing about these practices forever. I mean, I'm not a politician, but I've paid attention, and that's partly why I chose to run for office, because I want to give people options that they can see it's not always just the same old thing. And so that's why I chose to take this big challenge on, and I'm really, really excited and hope to see it go through. But as I've learned in all of this legislative process, things sometimes go slow, sometimes there's road bumps. And if it doesn't pass this time, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep pushing this because I think it's really important so that the people can do the work they need to do in the government offices to serve the people that are in our community.
Representative, do you think, because just based on what you just said there, and I know you said it's a slim majority, do you think this measure will have the support to move forward, or do you think it's going to fall clearly on party lines?
I'm fairly certain that we will pass it in the House. I know that we have the votes for the House. It's in the Senate, where I'm not sure how fast it will move and how it will move. I think that the Senate definitely is a changing environment. There's a lot of seats up for re-election in next year, and so that could be one way to push this. So I'm hoping that the people out there that are watching or hearing about this bill, once it does get to the Senate, I really hope that they'll reach out to their senators, because this bill is for you. And if you think that, this would help you, you need to help me by talking to your senators to tell them that this is important to you so that it can pass through. Because unless it gets through the Senate, it won't go anywhere else. So I know we'll get it in the House, but I really need to work the Senate.
I want to ask if this bill had been law, let's say just 3-4 years back, do you think that we'd be in this situation now that we're in with Governor Torres and the probe?
Wow. I think that if this had been law, I guess I really don't know. It's hard to speculate. I think people are still going to do what people do and try and find their ways around. I just feel like it's important to try and give them as many roadblocks as possible so that the people are not affected, because corruption hurts.
All right, there you have it. Representative Leila Staffler from the CNMI House of Representatives. Thank you so much for your time. We hope to be in touch, especially with the progress of this more than one-page bill that you introduced.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
Have a good day.
Thank you so much. I had a wonderful time this morning.
Come back anytime.
I'll be back.
That's okay.
Okay.
Did we give her did we apologize?
For what?
I just want to apologize because I know someone from Guam started the surge that you guys had, and I just wanted to extend our sincere and deepest apologies for that.
Thank you. It's really all right. I feel like we're in the best position that we could be because we've had the vaccines since December. We are at more than 80% across the island. Our youth are getting their chance to get their inoculation, and it's really important that we start looking at the world as with COVID as a permanent fixture, at least for the foreseeable future. And so although that did happen, I think if it was going to happen, this was a better moment than any, because we will not see the same devastation that our brothers and sisters down south have felt and across the world. Like, I'm so grateful for how much time we've had to get ourselves, to a place where we're safe. And now that we have that, we got to see what moves on after, because COVID is here to stay and we have to find a way to live with it.
Thank you, Representative.
Thank you too. Have a great day, guys.
Okay, Esther, right on. You gave her the address, right, Tom?
I'll pass it.
Okay.
I'll pass it along.
600 Harmon Loop Road. As a measure of goodwill, the CNMI can send us blueberry bread and a piggy.
And she'll probably want one of your flash drives or USB.
Right on. Yes, I'll give you one. No problem, Representative. Slide us some of that tinny and donny. All right. Hey, the goodwill continues. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
Tomas?
it's almost Giving Tuesday. So.
It is, yeah. Every Tuesday is Giving Tuesday around here. November 16th. We're going to take a quick break and go a little bit more local here with Senator Jim Moylan, who's not writing those letters again. That pesky Senator Moylan. He's coming up next right here on the link. It is Tuesday again, November 16th. Good morning.
1 in 6 people on Guam are affected by diabetes. The terrible impact of the disease on the island has only been amplified by the COVID-19 pandemic, as many of those hospitalized and those we've lost had pre-existing underlying conditions like diabetes. As November is Diabetes Awareness Month, KUAM News has partnered with AI Health to raise awareness for this disease that affects so many of us, and to showcase a number of ways to prevent, treat, and care for those with diabetes. Join us for AI Health's A Healthier You, Making Diabetes History on Guam, a multi-platform campaign on KUAM Communications, including a 6-part series on KUAM News Primetime and Weekend Edition, and our digital media platforms kicking off on World Diabetes Day, Sunday, November 14th. Daily interviews with expert panelists on the link begin